Welcome to my Steven Universe inspired background tutorial. First, we start off with a gradient. You can do 2 or more colors, but I tried to keep it simple, so I only have 2 colors, pink and yellow. Then we're going to do what I call the sky highlights. For this we are going to use a round brush. I use the color picker in the middle and you'll see why in a moment. I also adjust the size of my brush using the bracket keys on my keyboard. To draw a straight line, click, hold shift, then click where you want the end point to be. Then you get a nice straight line. And look, the color forms a cute gradient because of color theory. I'll continue picking from the middle-ish area for my colors. I also adjust the size of my brush using the bracket keys. We want variation of sizes, but I like starting with big strokes to help guide the angle of my brush. I zoom out to check if it looks good. So now, as you can see, it's kind of Steven Universe. But these are just glorified ovals with hard edge ends. We are going to use the motion blur tool to really punch it up. Let's cut to the options bar so I can show you where it is. You're going to go to filter. Then on the drop-down menu go to blur. Then find motion blur and click it. It will bring up this window where you can adjust the angle and distance. Notice how the sides aren't blurry but the edges of the circles are. You can also adjust the strength of the blur with a distance slider. My angle is pretty much correct, but you can always adjust it. I free-handed the highlights so not everything is perfect, but you want to find an angle that is mostly going the same way. Now I'm just messing with the opacity. Enjoy the music while I fiddle around. Next I'm going to do clouds. This part is also really fun. For the clouds I use the lasso tool. The cool thing about it is you can draw a little and then if you lift your pen, it connects to the start with a straight line. So here I'm only really drawing the curvy parts of the clouds and letting go. Make sure your lasso is set to add. You'll find that in the top setting bar. I also like to make little anye shapes just to mix it up. Oof, I'm fumbling making these. Don't worry about clicking undo for the lasso tool, it won't undo all your selections. For clouds at the edge, I pretend to draw the whole curvy part because the straight line effect still applies. But no worries if you choose to freehand it, there's a way to clean them up later. Listen to this next track while I make color and adjust these clouds real quick. To clean up cloud bottoms, I use the polygonal lasso tool. Then I select what I don't want and then delete it. Easy. So I've got my clouds going at the same angle as the highlights. You don't have to always do this though. Next we go back to our trusty motion blur tool. Thanks for waiting for these slow parts. I'm too late in the editing process to fix it. Note again how the bottom of the clouds are flat and so are the very tops of the clouds. But the rest is blurry. It adds motion to the clouds like they're floating by. highly encourage playing around with the sliders. I find it gives me a better understanding of how the tool works. Plus it can get funny sometimes. To do shadows, I make a masking layer for the clouds and I repeat the cloud process just in a different color. One caveat of any blur tool is you lose mass. See how the edges of the clouds are funky? I just fix that by transforming the clouds. The last few steps are totally optional but adds a little variety and flair. We are going to use the smudge tool on this little cloud. I'm using the default legacy brushes to smudge the cloud to make little air wispies. Zoom out to make sure it looks alright too. The very last part is making little wind trails. Personally, I use this set by Daria Romanova. I'll link some other cool brushes below like Moose Steven Universe brushes and my own. Let me find that other brush set. Oh boy, look at all these brushes. Oh my gosh, I passed it like twice. You can also use Kyle Webster's concept art brush pack for this effect. There are lots of smoke brushes. Now just make something kinda wispy. Mess around with layer settings and opacity, just find what you like. Give everything a once over one more time. This looks pretty good to me though. Here's the final image. Thank you and have fun.